It's Derby time at Los Alamitos when the West Coast best race in the Golden State Derby Final. The field will be headed by fastest qualifier Rockin' With Energy, who has been on a roll with back-to-back wins. Plus, top filly Cowgirl Up has also impressed. They'll face the top sophomore male at Los Alamitos right now in Grade 1 winner BP Cartel Policy. Plus, Governor's Cup Derby winner Mask Mandate and more. What a quarter-horse derby it'll be. It's the Golden State Derby at Los Alamitos. The Southern California Thoroughbred Racing Circuit is back at Los Alamitos Racecourse with 2 great weeks of racing starting on September 13th through September 22nd. The opening weekend program will feature the E.B. Johnston Stakes. Plus, the summer meet will include the running of the Dark Mirage for fillies and mares on Saturday, September 21st. And our on-track handicapping contest is set for Saturday, September 21st. You could win a seat to the National Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. Daytime racing is back at Los Alamitos, September 13th through the 22nd.
And that's right. We're back here on the Los Alamitos Preview Show, joined by Michael Wrona. Christopher Wade and George Duarte are also on deck, so we'll bring them up just in a little bit. But Michael, how are you this fine weekend? And hard to believe it's just around the corner for that September meet that opens here at Los Alamitos on Friday, September 13th, Michael.
Yes, it's just scary, isn't it, how the time's flying by. And we'll have the thoroughbred meet before we know it.
Absolutely. 6 days of racing, 2 stakes races on the during the meet, including the $125,000 Dark Mirage on the second Saturday. That will also be the Saturday that will have a very popular on-track handicapping contest. We'll go ahead and bring up Chris Wade and George Duarte to join the show. How are you, Chris?
Yeah, doing good, boss. How you guys doing today?
Doing really well, and especially since we now know the horses for this Saturday's 9-race program. First post for the 9-race program will be at 7:15 p.m. 6:45 p.m. is the last race at Del Mar. A huge Saturday of action at Del Mar with the Pacific Classic, and we'll get going at 7:15 with a 9-race program. George, how are you doing today? And looking forward to a Saturday car, right?
Yeah, especially that late pick 4. I mean, there's good sized fields. I think they're pretty competitive, and I like. The morning line in the last race, I think the favorite's 3-1. So, Ed thinks that's a really wide open race, and I think so too. It's basically a stakes race. Even though it's an allowance, it is basically a stakes. So I like a couple horses in that sequence, and I think it's going to pay well.
We'll definitely be talking about that strong late pick 4. Lots of quarter horse races to end the card with really good fields. And like you mentioned, that allowance race, He's Chickless is in there. You Can Go is in there. Candy Blood, a Grade 1 winner, as is You Can Run. So a lot of nice horses in that allowance race. We'll definitely be taking a look at that race. And of course, a big weekend that just happened at Los Alamitos, headed by the trials to the Pacific Coast Quarter Horse Breeders' Futurity. Monte Rosa with a big day, including Up to Party. What a race by Up to Party, right, Michael?
Yeah, what a race by all of the winners trained by Monte Rosa. Incredible performance by Monty. And that filly now 4 for 4, the Ed Burke Million winner, and she just steamed away, didn't she? She put up a huge winning margin.
I don't think she broke a sweat. She was so impressive in that one. Any horse that really impressed you, Chris, on the trial?
Well, Up to Party was so very good, and never asked to run a step and was just cruising throughout. And Dunn Ranch was at the track. They saw two of the runners run and both qualified. So they had a great night of racing. And like I said, Up to Party is just so good. I mean, Jiminy Christmas, a $12,000 purchase. And her full sister won the race before, and she cost $33,000. So a great weekend of racing for them. And the sire should be his prices should be up a little bit next season.
That's right. The Los Alamitos Equine Sale just around the corner as well, October 5th and 6th here at Los Al.
Yeah.
Butterlove ended up being the fastest qualifier. He went in the opening trial. So running during the daylight, that might have been a little bit of an edge there for Bottle It Up, getting that fastest qualifying time. And of course, the Go Man Go handicap, a race that a lot of people are talking about because there was a disqualification. Jericho crossed the wire first. Impressum right behind him. The stewards took a look at the race because there was a lot happening in that race. A lot of horses either broke in, broke out, got bothered, something. Cattail Cove on the outside was the one that benefited with a really nice, clean race. He got moved up from third to second. Jericho, who crossed the wire first, was disqualified. That moved up Impressum. So we actually had a chance to talk to Heath Taylor. His horses were all in the middle of that inquiry, eventual disqualification as Jericho, Impressum, and the horse that got bothered there by Jericho, the stewards disqualification, that Duke. He is also trained by Heath Taylor. Here's Heath talking about the Go Man Go.
Heath, just unusual circumstances. You had the top two finishers crossing the finish line, but there was a inquiry and eventually a disqualification. Impressum gets the victory. What did you see from those replays? What did you think happened?
Well, they're just now showing it the first time because it took a long time to make the decision, so I haven't seen any of the replays yet at all. It's unfortunate for the other horse. This serves as an alternate sometimes for the champion of champions. So it's a lot more than just the purse. It's the potential berth that the horse is going to lose from the disqualification. So that could be a big decision, especially he's a really improving horse and a 440 horse. However, I haven't got a chance to review him yet. The rider of the 4, which is the other horse of mine, also unfortunately, he said that he was impeded quite a bit and said that it bothered his horse quite a bit. He said he was really trying to make a run and they stopped the horse, so I haven't got to see the replays yet. But it was unfortunate for him. Lucky enough to have the ability to have first and second to where the other horse got elevated and ran a really good race. He said that he stepped back a little bit right when they opened the gate. Impressum did, and he said he missed the break a little bit. The one left exceptional, and said he just kind of slipped and didn't really break that well. Impressum, he was behind and run really well. So anytime you can get a win in a Grade 1 race, you got to be blessed and fortunate. Just take the circumstances for everyone involved because the other horses run super good race.
So there is Heath Taylor talking about all of his horses there. Jericho, of course, is the one that was disqualified. He also mentioned that Jericho will be back for the Robert Boniface Los Alamitos Invitational Championship. So important to get those berths to the champion or champions. Impressum now with this victory in the Vessel's Maturity. He already had a presumptive berth to the champion or champions. Now gets basically the 11th spot. So if another spot opens up, it will be earned via the Z. Wayne Griffin Director's Trial. So I just happened to grab the book of the Los Alamitos Equine Sale catalog, and there she is, up to party right there, the cover star for the catalog, this filly by Kitty Up. Okay,
Orlando, could I just throw in a comment about the Go Man Go?
Absolutely.
Because so much attention, obviously and naturally, was focused on Impressum and Jericho and the DQ, that I just want to highlight that Cattail Cove was running out of his skin to be so close to those two. I know he had an unimpeded passage down the outside, but for the purposes of the expanded post-parade introductions that I do for the big races, I dug through his PPs because he was going postward for the 48th time. He finished third in the Go Man Go of 2021, 3 years ago as a 4-year-old. And here he is getting close to Impressum and Jericho in 2024 as a 7-year-old. And I also want to give props to George Duarte, because I noticed in the consensus that he put Cattail Cove in for third. He was the only selector to put a Cattail Cove into the placings. He left Scoop's Dynasty out. So I tip my hat to George, and I doubly tip my hat to Cattail Cove. And by the way, the horse who beat him in that Go Man Go 3 years ago contests that very strong allowance at the end of tonight's or Saturday night's program.
Very good point, Michael. And Cattail Cove now will be most likely making his 50th career start in the Z. Wayne Griffin Director's Trials. I talked to Ling Newcomb earlier this morning, and the plan is for Cattail Cove, who, by the way, ran second in the Spencer Childers. So he has been on a good form even at this age, he is still delivering big race after big race. So his 49th start will be coming in the Azure 3 Stakes, Azure 3, and then he'll be pointed to the Z. Wayne Griffin Director's Trial. So what a great career from Cattail Cove. He will have his 50th career start, if all goes as planned, later this year. And who knows, maybe he'll be in the Champion of Champions once again towards the end of the year. So thank you for that, Michael. We'll go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll come back and talk a lot more about the top races here at Los Alamitos this weekend.
The Southern California Thoroughbred Racing Circuit is back at Los Alamitos Racecourse with 2 great weeks of racing starting on September 13th through September 22nd. The opening weekend program will feature the E.B. Johnston Stakes. Plus, the summer meet will include the running of the Dark Mirage for fillies and mares on Saturday, September 21st. And our on-track handicapping contest is set for Saturday, September 21st. You could win a seat to the National Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. Daytime racing is back at Los Alamitos, September 13th through the 22nd.
And we're back here to take a look at the racing program here on Saturday night. And Michael, I know you always have a good eye for these horses, and I'm sure you'll find those a really good choice, because I got to mention, last week you mentioned Snowbound as your selection for the week, and Snowbound ran a really good closing second in his trial, I think against Midnight Mood, and ended up qualifying to the PCQ HRA Breeders' Futurity.
Yeah, it was a terrific performance, and he ran easily fast enough to make the final. He went off at 6-1. He was charging home. He just went strongly through the wire and into the turn, and put lie to that disappointing effort from the outside post we talked about at the previous run in the Governor's Cup Futurity. But I knew he had a lot more ability than that night showed, and he really put his best foot forward, and he's a very, very talented horse. Whether he's got the initial acceleration in the first 50 yards to be beating so many of these top Arosa flying machines remains to be seen. But, going forward deeper into his career at longer distances, he's an exciting prospect.
For sure. And he'll, with his price, they paid a lot of money. I'm sure they got him pointed to some big races as his career continues. Let's talk about this Saturday's racing program, Michael. Where are you going to go for your top selection?
Going round the turn, Orlando, in race number 1, which is a 1,000-yard maiden for 3-year-olds. I've been thinking that Bonus Tornado, a Sergio Morfine trainee, is working up to a win. I'm hoping it's 3rd time's the charm, because he's been out twice, and there were things to like about each of the performances. In fact, even though he finished out of the money on debut, I thought we might go back and take a look at that first out run on July 13th.
And here's the race, Michael. July 13th, race number 5. Bonus Tornado here. Where is he breaking from again, Michael?
The outside post position 6, and watch him walk out of the gate. He did not know much about it when the starter Gary Brinson let them go. And look how much start he gave away. He was a couple of lengths slow. And he gradually begins to pick up steam and challenge for the lead. Now, he was a 3-year-old, but this race was against older horses. It was a maiden for 3-year-olds and up. And there he is right up on the outside of... There he is contesting the lead. As they reach the top of the stretch, you can see him dropping off a little bit, and hard-ridden, and seemingly has run his race, which you could forgive him for after being slowly into stride, but he comes back for more. And at the 16th pole, he has a share of the lead again. It's only in the last little bit that he gets very tired, and he ended up 4th. He was beaten several lengths. But I thought there was a lot of merit in that performance after being so slowly away and then rushing into contention, and then dropping off a little bit coming to the top of the stretch, but re-engaging once more mid-stretch, only to tire late. So then he comes back for one more run against straight 3-year-olds, and he was first-time Lasix, and he went within a head of winning. And just with another little step forward, he might be able to get the job done. Now, this selection comes with a couple of asterisks, Orlando, because I am concerned about the Adam Kitchingman debutant from gate number 1, who's put up a couple of eye-catching gate works at Del Mar. He obviously has a bit of speed. So, that's a big X factor. I'm hoping that from gate 1, first start in a race, that works against him. But certainly he's one to consider. And the 4-horse Top Stitch is another serious pace factor. As a matter of fact, he ran faster time than my selection did in his latest start at 1,000 yards, which was his first try on the nighttime layout at Los Al. So Top Stitch on times alone certainly looks to have a chance. What's interesting is that Cesar Ortega rode both Top Stitch and my pick bonus Tornado in each of their last 2 starts, and he's not riding either horse on Saturday night. I don't know if he's suspended, but I don't see him in any of the entries for Saturday night. So the 4-horse goes from Ortega to Francisco Ramirez. Bonus Tornado gets Edgar Payeras, and he'll be outside speed. We don't know how much pace the rail horse is going to show, but I think it's safe to expect speed from the 4 and the 6. Theoretically, my horse, Bonus Tornado, should be advantaged by being on the outside of Top Stitch. And I'm just hoping with one little extra move forward, third start, second start Lasix, that he's got enough in the tank to win this race.
And of course, you also have some horses like Top Stitch, like you mentioned, with some speed, and also horses trained by trainers from across town. Steven Miotti has the 3 Mucho Suerte at 8-1. Ryan Hansen, who usually when he sends horses out here, they deliver nice performances. He's got the 8 SY Dream at 12-1. So a really interesting race. Our early pick 4 pools have been outstanding. They were outstanding last week at 200,000 on Sunday. This is the kind of race, race number 1, especially after that big card at Del Mar, that could really lead into a really big pick 4, early pick 4 sequence.
And just one other thing with the possible pace scenario, there is a horse adding blinkers. Is it the Nunez horse? No, Jose Flores.
Yeah.
The 7-horse for Jose Flores, second start in a race, Lord Earl, is adding blinkers. He was 4-1 when 4th in his debut. So, maybe the blinkers sharpen him up a little bit early. I don't know to what extent.
Yeah, and I always like seeing the name of owner Hector Castrillon here appearing on our PPs. He won a stakes race during the daytime meet at Los Al. And after that, we've been seeing his name appearing here during the nighttime action quite a bit. So good to see a new face appearing from the ownership standpoint. Great. Looking forward to that opening race and what should be a fun night of action here at Los Alamitos. First post, once again, 7:15 for this opening race. Thank you, Michael. I know you're going to be really busy in the weeks to come with the doubleheaders here at Los Al, just around the corner. And again, you do such fine work on FanDuel TV, usually on Friday nights, right?
Oh, thank you. Yes, I've been getting into the studio on a Friday night and talking about the Aussie racing and quite enjoying that. But once we get into the double headers with the daytime thoroughbred meet, rest assured I take the Friday nights off from FanDuel.
Yeah, and not only that, but your EPL watching is going to have to be curtailed a little bit as well, right? The Premier League action is in full swing now. I'll be watching a few games as well when I get a chance. Not only that, but you also have the NFL kicking off as well. So lots of happening around the sports world. Thanks so much, Michael. I really appreciate your time and your selection as well for this weekend. Best of luck.
Thanks, mate. Let's hope we can get the ball rolling with the winner in the opener on Saturday.
Sure thing. Have a great one.
Hooroo.
Night racing's best bets are at Los Alamitos Racecourse. The Los Alamitos early and late pick 4s with outstanding pools and big payouts. Here are some of our recent pools. The pool is over $214,000 on June 23rd and over $240,000 on May 26th. And the late pick 4 often has pools of over $150,000. And remember, our $10,000 Pick 6 promo on Sundays. Night racing's best bets are at Los Alamitos, Saturday and Sunday nights.
And we're back here for the Los Alamitos Preview Show. We talked a little bit about the PCQHRA Breeders' Futurity trials. And a horse that we didn't mention in that opening segment was Ultimate Battle, who won the last trial. And one thing that you mentioned, George, is just how good he looked on the track, right?
Yeah, he was looking. I remember when we were wondering if he was going to sweep Monty, and I said, it looks like he is. That horse is looking really good. And, he ran to his looks and, broke through and, got his maiden breaker.
And Chris, throughout the consensus, you had some nice, not only victories, but I think you may have had a trifecta early on your selection. So you were seeing the ball well throughout the consensus. Usually, that's usually your night to shine, right, Chris? You put a little bit eggs on that basket, looking for those big winners.
Yeah, we even had a Grand Slam Superfecta A, B, C, D that particular night. So numbers were rolling very, very well. We came up just a little bit short in the consensus championship, but we tried to beat a favorite, and it came back to haunt us in the end.
Well, there'll always be next time. The next consensus that we'll have will be around Golden State Million Futurity trials, I believe. So that'll be coming just around the corner as well. Well, let's talk a little bit about this outstanding card on Saturday night. Michael took a good look at race number 1. Let's move forward and take a look at that late pick 4 sequence, which will begin in race number 6. And pretty interesting race because as we were preparing for the show, from what I understand, we're going to have a duel, a face-off between Chris Wade and George Duarte, because you guys are going with your pick of the show, both happening in this race number 6.
Yeah, it's a competitive race. I'm going to go with the Los Al Loco to upset the shippers, and had some trouble last time, and we're going to give them a look to move forward there for the connections. And this horse was a C-plus worker prior to the debut.
Who is the horse first?
It's the number 8 horse, Change Up. This horse for Scott and the doctor was a C-plus worker prior to the debut. He's had nothing but trouble in each lifetime start, but did get away a little bit better in that last start and showed a good amount of run, beating the length, but had about that much trouble along the way, in my opinion. So a decent getaway puts him in the mix at a nice price there of I think it's 5 or 6 to 1 in the morning line.
George, I gave Chris a chance to talk about his selection. How about your selection? Who's going to be your pick?
I'm riding the Eddie Willis train and Aqua Chica. She's really quick. She just has been. She has Justine Kleber on, and she lugged in and lugs out. Under urging. And I think one of Oscar Panato's strengths is not losing momentum when the horses drift in or out. So I think, with that in mind, and I think she's back to first time going 300 yards, but I think this is the distance. She's a small filly, and she's really quick. And I think the 300 yards hits her right between the nose. That's where I think is her best distance. I think she's going to catch a flyer with Oscar, and I think she's going to be holding off Change Up. I have Change Up, I think, as my second pick. So I respect the Chris Wade's pick. Not one I would leave out, but I just think Aqua Chica's been facing better, and she's coming down from the mountain, the higher elevation, and she's quick. So I think she'll be hard to run down.
Last year, when we had all these horses coming down from the mountain, they were firing first time out right away. They were picking up victory after victory. Chris O'Dell has a horse in this race, for example, the one Inappropriate coming from Albuquerque, and this horse has been running in trials. In the big futurity trials over there, ran second in a trial to the Rainbow Futurity. So, okay. So, Chris, you're going with the outside horse, the 8 changeup. George going with the 3, Aqua Chica at 3 to 1. Well, let's go ahead and be good hosts, and we'll go ahead and show the shippers race first. So, the one that's coming out to visit us here from out of town. So, all right, here is the race. This is race number 6. And this race actually did happen at Ruidoso Downs. As we know, they've since moved the meet to the Downs at Albuquerque. So tell us about your selection here, George. Where is Aqua Chica breaking from? And we'll let this play.
She's number 6. So she gets away well. She, the outside runner is the horse that ends up beating her. And then you'll see her kind of drift in right here under Justine, and be asked, and then will lug out late, and that's what cost her the victory. So, I think with the experience of Oscar, and like I said, I think he is really good at letting horses not lose momentum when they do drift in and out. I think that's what get it done. I don't think 350 is also her best distance. If you see her, she is small. She's a tiny one, so. The winner came back to win an allowance race, so it was a good race. And the 5th place finisher came back to break maiden. So it comes out of a live race. I like the gate speed. I think, drawn well. I don't love the 3-post, but I think it's drawn well.
Okay, right there, wearing the pink stilts.
Yeah, and the one with the white blinkers.
The white blinkers right there in the middle.
Yeah,
of
you'll
the
see
track.
her lug out right here. She lugs out, and I think that's what cost her the race.
Okay, so there she is once again, George. Like you mentioned, broke out a little bit, and
drifted in a bit in the beginning. And then when she's asked left-handed, she lugs out right there.
Okay, there she is. Aqua Chica will be George Duarte's selection. So now we'll go ahead and shift focus and go to Los Alamitos here for Chris Wade's pick. That will be Change Up. All right, Chris. So here is Change Up, and remind the viewers where Change Up is breaking from.
Yeah, coming out of post number 5 in that field of 6.
Okay, post number 5. Here we go. Talk us through it, Chris.
Okay, the horse is standing relatively well and leaned back some at the start and slowing the stride. Lost about a length and a quarter, kind of slowing the stride away from the gate, but was in a hand shove and was finishing better than looked while being kind of forced inward away from the gate. The rider really can't push on through. Was in kind of close quarters. The winner to the outside was starting out relatively well. Stablemate and was the second choice in there. But this horse finished better than looked in kind of close quarters, a little intimidated, and galloped out pretty well. So I give the horse with trouble track variant. The horse has got a pretty good figure with all factored in. And the horse, with only the 3 lifetime starts, is getting closer and closer. So a decent getaway puts the horse in the mix. And obviously a lot of respect for the shippers coming in, Christopher Dell and the other Wills. But a couple of those Albuquerque horses kind of regressed in their last start a little bit. So let's give the Los Al local just a little look here in tonight's 6th event there from the nice outside post area, number 8, Change Up. He's slowly improving and broke well and finished pretty well. Nice gallop out. So has a look at the outcome at a nice price there in that 6th event.
And George, you happen to say that you do have respect for this horse going into this race. What stood out as far as you're concerned from Change Up?
Well, for one, I really like Makeover Mare. Had a Makeover. It has a lot of good horses. Future Version, Renewed. There's I always give them an extra look, and usually they are later developing. If you look at the other ones, like Future Version, didn't really blossom until his 3-year-old year. So and like I said, like Chris said, got floated in, put in tight, and finished well while being in between. Some horses back out of those spots and don't like getting it's uncomfortable position, and galloped out well. You see she galloped out in front. Draws well, in between 2 of the slower breakers, and she's a favorite in 460 Dusty Red. So I think she's going to get a clean trip, and I think I have him 1-2. So, it depends. I might use both, and I might end up rooting for a Change Up if that's the higher price.
Yeah, right off the bat, as far as the morning line, 6-1 on Change Up.
The goal is to make money, not be right.
Yeah, correct.
I'll take the higher price.
Let's move forward to or later on the card to a race where there's a chance that we can make some good money because it's such a competitive field. I'm talking about race number 9, and this is a $14,400 allowance race at 350 yards. And what a nice group of runners here. Flyover at 6-1. And talk about just trying to make some money. This horse, back-to-back victories against allowance rivals, defeated Up for Everything 2 races back. Up for Everything is part of this race. El Aventurero won the Independence Day Handicap last year, won the First Down Dash. So a horse that's in top form. You Can Run, a Grade 1 winner here at Los Al, and early on in this season was at the top of his game. It was like a renaissance time for You Can Run. Won the Cahuilla Bar, but did lose to Aventurero and finished behind London Toby and Cattail Cove. Normandy, Grade 1 finalist. Space Flight, a horse that has delivered some nice races, particularly on California Breeders' Champions Night. Heath Chickless, 3-1. Plenty to say about this horse. I'm sure you guys will say plenty about number 6, Heath Chickless. There's Candy Blood, a horse that has only raced twice since May 28th of 2022. And Up for Everything ran second in the Independence Day. And like I mentioned earlier, ran second to Fly Over. Chris, your thoughts in this race?
This race is just it's a stakes race that you got like top-notch runners going in this event. You got Flyover, won well last time. Of course, El Aventurero. This is a horse that won last time despite a good amount of trouble. This horse always seems to find strife, but with everything factored in, has a good enough number to be right there in this mix. Of course, You Can Run went well last time and with a little trouble along the way. And of course, the very quick Heath Chickless always gives you 100%, is always there. And of course, Candy Blood has been away for quite some time, but has some past numbers over the Los Al oval that puts him in the mix. So this race could go a number of ways. And I'll be honest with you, this race could be, it's a field of 8. You could go 6, 7 deep and still not have the right horse. That's how good this race is. It's just closely matched. But I have to give a slightest of edges to El Aventurero. This horse was so good last time despite the trouble. But the problem is, always seems to give up a little ground away from the gate. And then he's up against a horse who's very quick and then You Can Run. So closely matched affair, could go a number of ways.
George, your thoughts on this field?
Yeah, I mean, I really respect Flyover. It was hard for me not to put him in the top 3 just because he's 9 for 9 in the money. And if you just look through his PPs, who he's lost, the only losses he has, he lost to Kevin's Wise Corona, who is a Derby and Futurity qualifier. Lost to My Game Plan, who won the maiden stakes. Crystal's Prize, who's has competed in stakes races. And FG, and in his first start against FG Just Says, to qualify for the kindergarten, I think the Ed Berg. So he's always faced the best. So this is he is stepping up in class, but he has held his own in every race he's ran. He always runs his race. So it was hard for me not to pick him in the top 3. I have him 3rd, but I went top pick. I went You Can Run. I thought he was done. But this year, he proved me wrong. He's been running really good races. And last time, 2 back, he had the rail against a few of these. And I think Lozano wanted to make sure he didn't lug in. So he broke out and he got bumped twice and just lost all momentum and all chance, and then, put in a solid effort against London Toby, Cattail Cove, and the Spencer Childers. So now draws next to El Aventurero, who is a slow breaker. I mean, last time he gave him a length, spotted him a length early and came, finished well. But I just for Aventurero, it's hard for me to bet him knowing that he is a slow breaker. He's going to need racing luck to, keep his path and close. If he was on the outside, I would give him a really good shot in this field. But I just, at 2 posts, even Impressum can't win from the 2 posts. So, I don't think Aventurero is going to overcome another slow break. But like Chris said, every 6, 7 horses, you can go 6 deep and still be very nervous. Normandy has shown good gate speed. Has improved. You figure you should keep getting improving with Monty. Heath Chickless is always can catch a flyer and end this race in the first 100 yards. One of them that I'm trying to bet against would be Candy Blood. I just since the champion of champions, I feel like he has never really recovered. He came away slow, and since then I just haven't seen that spark he had prior to that, because that Z Wayne Griffin effort in November of 21 was super good. and he was actually my champions pick that year. But since then, you know, he was real sluggish. His last start, I watched his work, and it just was not very exciting to me. I mean, they had to prompt him, and he still went 18-3 or 18-2. So I just think, you know, he's past his prime. So he's one I will bet against. And up for everything, I respect. He's getting better this year. His 4-year-old has been quick early in his last two, and you know, I think he'll be right there on the wire.
With that Candy Blood's champions race, he ran fourth, and he
ran huge.
Early. And he was running against Apolitical Pens and Flashback. Flashback won the champion of champions last year, and Apolitical Pens won the champion of champions twice. And that's in a race where Candy Blood, the trouble comment, turned his head off slow, game, still with all that trouble, finished fourth right there. And he had also run third in the All American Derby earlier in that year. So you mentioned that workout, George, and I have it right here. So let's go ahead and take a look at that gait work of Candy Blood. So as you'll see right there, there is Candy Blood right there. They're adjusting the flipping halter. And he is going to brake sharply. He's going to leave on a straight path. But he's going to go kind of an easy fashion right here. I was looking for him to kind of take off right after he had that nice little break and broke cleanly. He is drifting in here, but just never really took off. He was under a handride. They were asking him a little bit there to finish strongly, and he responded there well, but still, he had to be asked, like you mentioned, and you know, early on in that work, he just lacked a little bit of that big time rocket fire there.
Yeah, like if the race, you know, at Remington didn't happen and this was his first start of the year, then I'd be like, okay, you know what, they have him ready. They just want him to just do you know, whatever maintenance work. But he was really dull in that race, and then this workout doesn't, you know, spark confidence that he has that fire. If you look at his PPs, they might be arguably the best in the group, but you know, I prefer others. I prefer other sharper horses in this race.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he can just return to that fine form, because a few years ago he just looked tremendous here in a horse with a chance to win the champion of champions. We have mentioned quite a few horses that have been at Ruidoso this year, so why don't we talk a little bit about the simulcast races that we are going to show here on Monday as part of our simulcast program. The All American Oaks, All American Derby, the Futurity. I'm not quite sure if we're bringing in the Gold Cup, but we'll take a quick look at the race. There's the Oaks, $626,000 purse, running to the moon, has been on fire there for trainer Heath Taylor. Especially good candy from Trey Wood. There's Flying Sophia from Mike Joyner's stable. More for a reason, a name here that I recognize for sure, ran at Los Alamitos in actually coming off of a fourth place finish to Running to the Moon in the Rainbow Oaks. Tempting Scout, Fine Runner, and Magdara here. Any selections, any horses that you guys like here in the All American Oaks?
I'm going to give the edge to the horse I picked last time, and that was Running to the Moon. And the horse is just steadily improving and won well, earned a pretty solid figure on my charts. So that'll be my selection in that ninth event, the Oaks. They're Running for the Moon for the hot barn of Heath Taylor's barn. Just does well no matter the venue. 34%
there at Albuquerque Ruidoso. 5-2 on the morning line, Valeriano Racing, the owners of Running to the Moon. Here is the All American Derby, Grade 1. Shoeless for Toby Keaton. The Marksman V for Heath Taylor. Fine form, 3-4-3 this year. Won the Ruidoso Derby. Also for Valeriano Racing. Visa, Rainbow Derby runner-up. Tony Corona, we've seen this horse here at Los Alamitos. Big Picture, Dashing Tress, Nori. The outside horses, some big names here. Cuz Lightyear and Cowboys Gunzi, the winner of the All American Futurity. And Vegas Strix round out the field. Cowboys Gun Z, 20-1. 20-1. Any George? Any horses that stand out here in this race?
I like Heath in this one as well. I like the Marksman V. Along the inside. He's really blossomed under Heath, and I think he's won by a length and 3/4 in the Rio Doso Derby, and then comes back. You're worried about, will he like the surface at Albuquerque? Well, he had no problems. He won by 3 1/4. So so that's just, I think he's strictly the horse to beat. I mean, I respect Visa. Had the outside. The outside did not do well over that weekend. I'll have a stat for that when it comes to the 2-year-old race. But I think it runs through the Marksman V. That morning line, I think, is crazy. I'm pretty sure he'll be the favorite going into that race.
Francisco Calderon, what a year he had last year, and this year he's not doing too bad. He's not got 19 wins for 37%. I don't know what his earnings are, but 37% gets it done. Let's take a look here at the All American Futurity $3 million race. Mountaineer 20-1. KJ Bad Moon Rising 8-1. He's got the looks. He is strictly the horse to beat. 2-1 on the morning line. Rainbow Futurity winner. Ridoso Futurity winner. Looking to sweep the big Futurities there and get the Ridoso Triple Crown. Ringman V. Ariat had the fastest time, I believe, for La Felix Montaña. 20.97, the winning time there, won by a length. Before that, won by a length and a half. But this is Ariat's first Futurity final. Painted Eclipse, Turner's Hot Habit. People Are Scramble at 15-1. Highly Regarded V. As we know, that means Valeriano Racing Stables. Of course, running the Rainbow Futurity. And FTV Dreams, the runner-up in the Rainbow Futurity. That completes the field for the All American Futurity. George, you had a stat for us?
Yeah, so 12 qualified for the juvenile, and 10 qualified for the final, the All American Futurity. And out of those 22 horses, only 3 horses qualified from post 7 or greater. So the middle and in was a place to be. And yes, he got the look Z. I mean, out of his 5 wins, that's a combined 12 lengths in a victory. So, I mean, nobody's going to be able to touch this horse. So, he is my top pick. But if you're looking for a long shot to play underneath, it would be number 1, Mountaineer. One of the few horses to qualify from the outside post. And, it's lightly raced, only ran 3 times. All 3 efforts have, been good. And I just think along the rail with, veteran Ricky Ramirez, that I think that's a good horse to key underneath, in second and third.
Chris, any nice little picks there? Any Chris Waits sleeper picks, sleeper selections?
Okay, well, he's got the look. Has been a horse I've been watching. This horse was well meant in his from his debut at Sam Houston. Came back, was a video horse for us and crushed at 6-1 in that first race. This horse has gotten bigger, better, faster, and stronger. It hasn't been asked to run. 3-1. Good luck with that. If you get even money, you'd be lucky with this horse. He's got so much talent. He's figures to be long gone from gate to wire. I'm going to give the horse that was second to him to the outside FTD Dreams. He was second to him in the All American Trial. Was second to him in the Rio Dosa final. And this horse draws a little outside, has a look at a little bit of the outcome at a little bit of a price. Then I have another long shot in there. Painted Eclipse was second in his trial to Kempton, and he was slightly troubled fifth in the Rio Dosa Futurity versus the aforementioned. He's got the look Z and FTD Dream. So this horse has got to look at the outcome at a little bit of a price. So put him on these exotics, but long gone on the front end is a horse that's going to be the second horse of all time to be a Triple Crown winner. He's got the look Z. Some special effort in 1981, I think it was.
Yeah, we'll see if he's got the look Z makes horse racing history. Yeah, there's been quite a couple of them that have tried to get that third victory, and it's not as easy as you would think. And like you just said, it's been 40 years just about since the last horse to accomplish that. So definitely not an easy thing to do at all. So we'll be bringing those simulcast races as part of the as part of the simulcast races that Los Al brings. That, of course, all happening on Labor Day Monday. So if you're in the area, come by and play the races here on Monday. Del Mar will have a special Labor Day program, and of course, we'll be bringing in all these night races from the Downs at Albuquerque. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. It's been a fun show. It's going to be a fun weekend of racing. First post on Saturday, 7:15 p.m. We had some big pools last week, hoping for the same, so the players can shoot for some big payouts, big prizes here this weekend. Thank you both. Have a great day.
All right, boss. You have a good day as well.
It's Derby time at Los Alamitos when the West Coast best race in the Golden State Derby Final. The field will be headed by fastest qualifier Rockin' With Energy, who has been on a roll with back-to-back wins. Plus, top filly Cowgirl Up has also impressed. They'll face the top sophomore male at Los Alamitos right now in Grade 1 winner BP Cartel Policy. Plus, Governor's Cup Derby winner Mask Mandate and more. What a quarter-horse derby it'll be. It's the Golden State Derby at Los Alamitos. The Southern California Thoroughbred Racing Circuit is back at Los Alamitos Racecourse with 2 great weeks of racing starting on September 13th through September 22nd. The opening weekend program will feature the E.B. Johnston Stakes. Plus, the summer meet will include the running of the Dark Mirage for fillies and mares on Saturday, September 21st. And our on-track handicapping contest is set for Saturday, September 21st. You could win a seat to the National Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. Daytime racing is back at Los Alamitos, September 13th through the 22nd.